All right, I tell you, you got the phones rocking and rolling.
They really are.
Franny,
I'm sure the microwave president called me. You know, they make my life miserable. The pet food lobby went after me, and I'm telling you, manufacturers, right now, lay off FRAN Lee. I'm not afraid of you. You can't buy me. You can't bribe me. And you can't tell me to be sweet. I used to make a good living out of commercials. And someday I'll have the best commercials on my program. When FRAN Lee says it's good, you bet your life it's good. But don't you scare me or the bosses at my stations who depend on you for money from the commercials. I tell it like it is. I always call you first, don't I? Always tell you what I'm going to do, but you don't listen.
Got a call in for you.
Here's the call. Hello, caller. Your question?
How can you make the management of an apartment complex enforce dog law?
How can you make the owner of an apartment complex enforce which law?
Dog law.
Dog law? I don't know whether you have it down here. In New York, they're trying to pull a fast one on us. The lease says no dogs, for instance, especially in USA properties or city properties. But if you kept it more than 3 months and the landlord didn't stop you from doing that, automatically in New York, you can keep your dog. But read your lease. If your lease is no dog, now allowed, you stick to it. But you people have got to be prepared to do what I do. I take my camera and I take a picture of the dogs defecating either in the hallway, on the rugs, out in front of your window. And where are you then, Mr. Cleveland Amory? You're running up to Canada to save the seals, and down here I can't get you to do a thing for the kids.
Can we ask this caller? Caller, what is the problem with the dogs in your building?
Running all over the yard?
Sure. Very dangerous. Yeah. You get a camera, you take the pictures. If they're barking, you take a tape recorder on it. You march down to City Hall, to the mayor, to the Board of Health. You write to Dick. We'll have you on the air as a guest.
Richard, Franny.
Oh, Richard.
Yeah.
I thought you were kidding on that. Oh, he meant it. I always call him bubbly to me.
All right, go on. Write to the mayor.
Anyway, you write, you photograph, you take a sound, you know, you have the proof, and then you go up to the people. Now, be prepared to get a punch in the nose. I have taken a cardboard with a poop on it, chased a woman in front of my house, and put it on her hat.
Oh,
my goodness. Did she hit you?
Nope, they ran away. And,
I'll bet they did. Who was that crazy lady?
You know, I'm easily recognizable, the white hair. And I love the other day, some people yelled across the street. I was having a terrible newsstand removed, or, you know, dangerous. Hey, Fran, baby, you're the dog poop lady. We love you. Come down to my block. And I went like this. I'm 73. I've fought your battles long enough. Now you get on with me. You can do it. First of all, it's fun. You'll go to the library.
Fun to put a poop on a lady's hat?
Oh, yes. Delicious. But a man was shot. A man was shot by his neighbor because the dog used to run into his yard. His wife was pregnant, and he didn't like it, and the guy shot him. I have all these records.
Shot the dog or the guy?
The guy, the man. Now, a judge has just ruled that a German Shepherd, for instance, is an instrument of danger. He put it in the same class as a gun. A kid in our town was just bitten 30 times on an elevator in his home, ended up in Bellevue Hospital. I have papers here of the savaging of children, faces completely torn, because a baby goes like this, and it's at the dog's level. He doesn't know, and the dog may have been hit as a puppy, and he'll go to protect himself. I'm trying to see good on both sides, but what I end up with is a dead, mutilated, sick child. I won't have it.
All right. Thank you very much for your call.
And we have a lady at the mic right now with a question for Fran Lee.
Hi, Fran. I think you're wonderful, and thank you for sharing the information with us and being so honest. I wanted to ask you two things. My name is Claire, and I was wondering if you could mention again, I'm sure you've talked about it, about children and being how far away or how close to the TV and the emission of rays from that, and also about the big boom in video games, and if it's any danger, if you could elaborate on that.
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, when I refer to VDTs as video display terminals, or it's separate from the rays in a television set, there's no question there are rays. How many? It's at the end of the day, the accumulative effect. Nature has it. Everybody has it. We don't know for sure, but Dr. Milton Zara, the specialist in the caviar cataracts, he's treating editors of newspapers who are only 29 and 35, which is unusual to get a cataract, but they're at the machines all day long. Now, I was down in Australia, and the headline was unions to have laws in the safety laws, you know, for workers, the work around it. Now, I watch television, 3 sets going all day. I love it. I'm sure it's going to have some effect. But what a way to go. I like it. Now with children, I don't know. You know, too close is no good. They should sit about here, and you'd have to ask your doctor if they start squinting or they start behaving peculiarly. But on VDTs, you know, the girls sit all day long, 8 hours a day typing in all the offices. They found headaches, so they put on shields. They found nausea. They found pregnant women not acting properly. But it's being suppressed, in my opinion. Now, I have one headline, VDT's dangerous. This week they came out with a report, VDT not dangerous.
What about the video games, though, Fran?
Very bad. Because
the kids are playing?
It's also raised, but nobody is going out with a machine to test. So I called Zarek before I left to come here. What's the latest, Milton? And he said to me, 2 women just won a huge settlement of $2 million. This is interesting. They worked in a legal office, and the guy had gotten them a microwave oven because where they worked, the neighborhood wasn't good, and they would warm up their lunch. The one that was on the left side was affected on the left eye, and the one used to come in from the right. Now, they had to promise not to discuss the case publicly in order to get this settlement. The government has made some settlements that they will not talk about. Navy men, you know, working in the radiation field. I'm asking you, write to your senator, write to everybody. Why don't you write to the companies? Write to all your big companies and say, have you any information? And you're going to get back smoothie letters that are going to make you as mad as it makes me. Be curious. It's your life. You know, you've got the pocketbook that pays them for their product. All you have to say is no. And talking about, let me get this in while I'm talking about consumers.
Hold it steady so we get a shot of it, Fran.
Steady.
Right there.
For free, I nearly fainted. The government sends you this book called Consumer Resource Handbook, and in it are the names of all the presidents of all the big firms, including all the government agencies. And
how do you get that book?
You write away to Handbook, Consumer Information Center, Pueblo, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009. Now, it's one of the best things our government has ever put out, and I use it as a Bible. I'm able to write directly. I just sent back to Polaroid my camera to the said president with the film that never comes out. I said, you evidently need this camera more than I do. I'm a reporter. I need my cameras. Take a look. You keep sending me free, you know, replace what was ruined. Sir, be my guest. You can take your camera. You know what you can do with it. Now let's see what we do. I sign my name, usually Frances Weiss, my marriage name. I don't get an answer. The minute it says Fran Lee, I get an answer. Then I call them on the phone. And by the way, you can call a lot of these people collect.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll pick up. But I've got wonderful results from General Mills and Nabisco. You know when you get the little flower beetles in your flour? That's a whole hour show. You get a sample.
Oh, yeah, we should talk about it some other time.
No, we get wonderful things.
But wait.
Some companies are great.
All right, we'll have that address in our show office if you want to.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Caller, you're on People Are Talking with Fran Lee. How can Fran help you?
Hello. In the past 8 years, I've had 2 cars, the same brand, the same model, the same year, have caught on fire. I must be manufacturing safety defect. I'm wondering how I can get my money back for the latest one.
I didn't hear it.
Okay, now we're gonna turn a little feet out down a little bit so we can hear you again. Now, what was your question one more time? You have 2 cars, same year, same model.
Right, the same brand, which have caught on fire. And the latest one was just a few weeks ago while I was driving it. I think that it must be caused by a manufacturer's safety defect, and I'm wondering how I can get my money back.
Well, one of the big companies just sold for millions of dollars where a man died in this and left the other part of the family badly maimed. A certain company, and I will not name it now, that was their problem. It's design. Why should you be the guinea pig? I suggest you don't drive that car anymore. Now, there's a new law going to be, a lemon law, you know, that if you buy a used car, you'll be able to...
We have a new lemon law in Maryland now.
So then
just went into law.
But where you bought these cars new and your dealer and your manufacturer don't want to do anything, I'm a great picketer. I've spent half my life on the street with great big signs. You know what it is? I like to look good. And I'm almost in tears when I have to go out in the street with a big sign that says, pick up your dog poop, it kills. Or, you know, people go and threaten you, but I walk, and I walk alone. And finally, when we broke the law, all the mothers joined me with babies on the back, and we went down to City Hall, and we were going to empty our babies' diapers right on the steps. So the same thing is with the car. If you bought it from a local dealer, put a big sign around, you know, with a package of lemons, and you pick it. I don't care whether it's 3 strawberries that are rotten. You paid for good ones. I freeze them. Like if I'm coming down to you and I can't get back, I call the guy on the phone and I say, listen, you sold me 3 strawberries that are rotten. I'm freezing them. You're getting them back when I come
She
home
should pick
Friday.
at the car dealer?
Pick at the car
With a
dealer.
sign that says
yeah,
what?
But the sign says, do not purchase a car from this man. It is a lemon. You guard your life. You know, make up in their own words with big letters. My husband just takes 4 pieces of slats and we put on a big card in rough printing, and he stands and he photographs me. Photograph and keep moving. The law says it.
Sammy goes with you?
Sammy goes with me everywhere. When I had to collect poop in the park, little ice cream cups full of poop so I'd know what the diseases are in Central Park, he stood with a shopping bag and he says to me, I love you, Fran, but I'm not picking it up. You just hand it to me. And when the report came back, whipworm, hookworm, tapeworm, every kind of disease, I've got the reports. So do it. Don't talk to me about it. You know, you people are lazy. You wouldn't have a war. You wouldn't have unemployment. You wouldn't have all the things you have. Do it just 1 block square. I've learned just on my 4 blocks. I'm going to move the prostitutes, the pimps. Pimp caught me the other day taking a picture of the prostitutes. Big hand came out of the car. Give me that camera. And you know, you can't miss me with this hand. I said, I will not. And he chased me, and Sam was still sleeping because I go out early in the morning to shop. He says, I'm going to wake up one morning and your body's going to be on the street. But what a way to go.
Sure.
Don't accept anything.
So pick it and write the president of the car
Yeah,
company.
and in this book of all the president's names and the phone number, call, sometimes collect, and sound very officious and say, look, you want me to call up Richard of People Are Talking in Beverly? Do you want me to go write letters to the editor? Start shaming them.
Thank you very much, caller, and we're going to give that address back in a little bit.
Back in a moment. Don't go away. More Fran. All right, dialing for dollars time on People Are Talking with Fran Lee. 2 bottom, $555. So go out and pick at that car dealer, and they'll probably want you off the street. Maybe they'll give you the car that you're looking for. That's a yacht club. I'm sure Fran has things to say about yachts, too. And the last 4 digits on this call are 2440. 2 bottom, $555. Remember, the next Thursday, we're going to have Ann Simonton on, a former beauty queen, who says that beauty pageants are terrible. Just a moment. An operator. New number. My goodness. All right, got a new number here. The last 4 digits are 4779. Anyway, Ann Simonton next week. If you've ever been in a beauty pageant, maybe the Miss Baltimore's Best or Miss Maryland or Miss Carroll County, whatever it happens to be, this number has actually been changed again. Changed once, and now this one has been disconnected. 335-4779, trying to get out of town. So we'll add 13 to the jackpot. 568 in the next on our next call. Ann says that contests promote pornography and violence against women. She has crusaded against beauty pageants, worn crazy costumes like our guest today, and poured blood in the streets, and has been arrested 7 times already. She still protests against beauty pageants. Be part of that studio audience next week. 481-3000 is the number to call. Remember, you come up, you have some wonderful bagels from the bagel shop. All right, here we go with Fran. Just a moment. We've got another caller standing by, Franny.
Really?
Caller, you're on the line. Your question? Hello, caller. Speak right up.
Caller, are you there for Fran?
Yes.
Okay.
I was lured into signing a contract with like a camp resort place. The contract ended up being about,
Caller, you can't watch your television, okay?
the contract ended up being about $10,000. It was on the idea of coming up and getting free gifts.
Oh, I get those too. I get those all the time.
But
Free vacations.
I turned mine over all to the Attorney General. And why you're suckers, but my Sammy and I just won a trip to Portugal in Sloan's Market. You know, you put your number in.
And Sloan's?
And Sloan's, and we got we're going to Portugal
Mazel
for a
tov.
week
Congratulations.
at a spa, and boy, is that going to be good for our bones. So there are honest ones, but this is a real racket. Don't fall for it. Like, I'm very angry at Ed McMahon sending out, you know, those big things. I'm going to win $2 million. He's been hocking me for 2 years now. Come on, Ed. You got enough money to retire. You don't need this cheapening thing.
Well, what does this woman do? She's already committed herself. You know, the Consumer Protection Division in the Attorney General Steve Sachs' office in Maryland is excellent if you have a complaint like that.
It was done in Pennsylvania.
Well,
Well,
I'm
you
sure
have it there. She's got that Herb, what's his name? Herb
Denenberg.
Look him up in the phone book in Philly, I think he is. And Denenberg is very good. You know, I think you got stuck.
Sure.
I think you were a sucker.
You know, we get this raises a great so much garbage in the mail. This and that, and free little cards and
Even
tickets
I
and
get
checks.
sent
Pay to
away.
the order of Beverly Burke, $150.
Yeah.
You know, you turn it over. If you
you
this
get
is for a
nothing.
$10,000 house in the country.
Well, about 10 years ago, I did a show on free, and I took everything that I found in the magazines or anywhere that said free, and then below the free, I began to analyze, and I had a big board in back of me, you know, that I placed these free, free, free. Oh, and they weren't free. Richard, there's two things you've got to let me talk about today because it's close to my heart. I want the opinion of the public. I want the opinion of the public of, would you watch all your newspapers and cut out and measure for me, drop me a card, how much space is given to animals and how many to children? The second one, I'm gunning for Ms. Magazine. I'm an Original Now member, Original Woman's Liber, member of the Older Woman's Lib, and I had to give up because I felt they weren't doing enough for, you know, plain married Fran Lee with 7 grandchildren. I'll always back them in a lot, but Ms. Magazine has 14 ads on liquor and alcohol. See, I see things that you people don't see. And I called them years ago and I said, hey, folks, why are you doing this? And I put up a big board on my show, and I'm with USA Network 3 times a week, cable, so if you want to see me in person, you got me. Anyway, I show the magazines, Hustler, Playboy, Town and Country, and Ms. Magazine is almost close to all the top magazines on liquor and cigarettes.
You don't like that, huh?
It affects women who are pregnant. It affects your life. It's known as a terrible thing. Guess what their answer to me was when I said, why did you do it? They said, we need the money. And I said, hey, wait a minute. You picketed Olivetti typewriters. They showed a woman with beautiful breasts typing. So they picketed that it showed the woman, reminds me of this woman with the beauty pageants. I think they're great. Why don't you go chase pimps with a drug? I'll give her what to chase. Anyway,
I mean,
said,
next week's show.
yes,
Yeah.
and you know, this is it's a free country. Do what you want, but you have other more important things. Anyway, I said, are you worried that the woman's nipples would get caught in the keys? You know, what's your problem? So they picket men's firms. You know, see what I see. My grandchildren, oh, Grandma, but they listen. One of my grandsons said to me, I'm bringing my friend up for a few days. He lives, my son is Professor Gene Weiss at the University of Maryland, and another son I have on the coast, Barry Weiss, so I have 7 grandchildren. So the two, the boy says to me, Adam, Grandma, I'm coming to see you with my friend. He knows a lot, but he will love you. You're so interesting. And when he was this big, it was interesting because he couldn't say it. So make yourself interesting. Read. All right.
We've got an interesting woman at the mic right now who has a question for you, Fran.
Hello.
Hi. Yes, I wanted to ask you, how can you tell if asbestos is in your house or apartment, and how harmful is it?
Well, you really can't, and I'm beginning to worry that if you're going to take it out, you may create more problem than had it been laying there and latent and flat. Dr. Selikoff, who was the beginner man to interview this problem, asked me, years ago he gave me his work, 15 years ago, and do you know, my station wouldn't let me go on the air. They said it was communist propaganda, my asbestos. But where do we end up with it? Read Rachel Carson's books. She names the companies that today are either going bankrupt to make asbestos, like Manville, or people like that. They do it like we did Agent Orange. And then when you come with no lungs and your life destroyed and you've been complaining about it, you waited too long. So I would think twice before, what is it, in your walls or your roof?
The walls, yeah.
Well, it's in a lot of our city schools, too. They're putting millions of dollars into cleaning up our schools.
I know, but I think when they pull it out, you need only one thin sliver.
Kicking up the dust, you mean, is doing more harm than just leaving it
long? One thin sliver of it is all you need, and it doesn't show up for 4 or 5 years. I'm worried about all this stirring up. I remembered I had some in my attic, and it was covered with like that silver paper.
Right.
I would have just left it there. They may say I'm wrong, but I think there are other things floating around the air right now far more serious.
So it's probably better to leave it where it is.
Yes, but get in an expert, but not one of the guys that makes a buck out of it. Go to Johns Hopkins, you've got a great hospital here, and ask the specialist in asbestos what you should do. Are you suspicious? Had some leaked out? Had you seen any, or just only because of articles? I think well enough.
All right, we got to go. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back after this.
You got to call.